Welcome. We are back at it again. This is your girl Red Rose, a missionary, and you are
Gabby GP, a missionary. What
yes.
you do?
If this is the first video you're watching of us, we are doing 7 videos on the 7 things that we learned in the 7 years we've been married, right?
That's it right there.
Yeah, so we did the first video where we did a bit of some introduction and we looked at the living, cleaving, and being one flesh. And today we're looking at another topic, but I would like to welcome you in case you're joining us for the very first time on this segment I call Married and Mastering, which is everything concerning marriage. So basically, Married and Mastering is helping you, by giving you time-tested nuggets of building a fulfilling marriage, because we believe that it's possible to be, fulfilled in marriage, right? Fulfilled in marriage, right?
Great. So, perpetual honeymoon.
Perpetual honeymoon. Good. So, what are we talking about today?
Today we are looking at mentorship and accountability in a marriage setup.
Okay, do you want to, within a minute, explain to us what that is?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, mentorship, as you would apply mentorship at an individual level, basically making sure that you have people that you are looking up to and seeking some type of counsel from. Counsel, whether it's counsel, advice, but basically you have been deliberate as a couple to identify another elderly couple.
Yes.
Elderly
couple.
That's it. Yeah, that has gone ahead of you, and you've agreed as a couple that this is a couple that we will submit ourselves to. This is a couple that we will allow into our space, basically to be able to guide us in the journey of life. So the two are basically like two sides of the same coin, mentorship and accountability. So in the mentorship relationship, you are accountable to this couple, so that you are not doing life, the marriage life, alone.
Yeah.
Just like they say, no man is an island. You cannot do life all by yourself. You can't wait until you make all the mistakes, so you learn from your own mistakes. Why not learn from the successes and the failures of others
and just ride on them?
Exactly. And build yourself a great marriage.
I'm also trying to speak slow like my husband.
Impossible.
Anyways, I can't do that. Thank God for mentorship. She needs to put up with my speed, and I need to put up with his pace. Anyways, so that's very important, and I believe that it doesn't have to be one couple. For us, we're not accountable to one couple. We're accountable to about three or four couple. And these are people that they've seen us in different seasons. So, but I also wanted to say that sometimes you find that you already had a mentor before marriage, so I think it's not right for one of you to drag the other into mentorship, to force the other into mentorship. So this is my mentor, my coach, or whoever you call them, that I used to look up to, so I believe that you should. For me, I strongly believe that it should be a decision that both of you should make.
Exactly.
So, for example, my husband had a coach all his life, and for me, I was looking forward to that as well, like just to sit under his wisdom, because I saw, obviously, what he did in terms of the godly counsel and so on. You know what I mean? And I wasn't dragged in that mentorship. It was a decision that I made. For other couples, we had to sit down and say, okay, so who can we submit to? You know what I mean? And we were able to identify, late Bishop Noah Paswan and Pastor Gladys, Mama Mumba, Reverend, Mumba, as well as the late Reverend Pastor Brenda, and Rev. So I think it's very important for couples to I've mentored couples where who submit to different people, and they have conflicts and stuff like that. For me, I think if you can't submit to the person that your husband submits to or your wife submits to, you need to sit down and say, okay, how do we actually identify someone? Because when you're accountable to those people, you literally have to be vulnerable to those people. You know, for us, you have to ask. They can ask us questions on anything. Anything, you know what I mean? Like we've given them permission to just get in our lives and just ask us. And we are obliged, you know, to answer you know, in a truthful way. Because there are people that we feel that we can, you know, they can help us to be better people. You know what I mean? So I thought I should say that.
Also, you know, like as you transition in marriage, like you go through different seasons, you know, so you don't know what each season brings. Each season comes with its own benefits, comes with its own challenges. And there are people that have navigated that terrain before, you know, so you want to make sure that you tap into that knowledge and that grace. And for us, it's also that experience that then allows us to also be able to speak into other people's lives, because then we're gleaning from different sources.
From great people.
So as you deal with these different seasons, you want to make sure that whether you are in that season or you're approaching that season, you just deliberate about seeking counsel and direction. Important. And also for me and my wife, like we've given each other permission to be able to reach out
to report each other.
That's it, right?
So for example, if my husband no, but I think, you know, the reason we're doing these videos is to give you the whole truth, nothing but the truth. You know, like if I feel that my husband is busy doing, you know, work or whatever, you know, just pick a phone and say, you know, I need my attention. You know, I can call whoever I want to call. But obviously he's given me permission. And if he feels that, you know, I don't do what I signed up to, I don't feel, you know, offended. I don't feel betrayed. If he knows the people that he can go to, and those people sit me down and I have to listen. I know the people that I can report him to, you know, because at the end of the day, I think that's what the identification of these people is key. Because you don't want a situation where you go, you are vulnerable to these people and you hear it on BBC. BBC might, whatever it is. You know, so sorry, you're saying.
And I think we need to just qualify that, because somebody might hear or reporting each other and whatnot, and they will think like it's done out of malice. No, it's not. Because like I said, I have given up permission. And the reason I've given up permission is because I know that I'm not a perfect man. Okay, I'm striving to be perfect. So there will be times when I have challenges. And sometimes, you know, honestly, being a man, it's not everything that I'm different from the way she's wired. Like when she's dealing with something, she wants to express it and talk about it. Often for me is I want to internalize and process first. Cave. That's it. And sometimes when I am in that cave, I somewhat alienate myself from her, and she may not be processing properly. So that's the moment that then she reaches out to our mentors and say, look, I think this dude is dealing with something and he hasn't properly communicated it to me. Are you able to reach out and just check up on it? And out of the blues, I just get a call. Hi, coach. And he's asking me questions, and I'm like, okay, so somebody's being snitching. But then I know where it's coming from, and it's really those moments.
And maybe on that one, has it been helpful? Like
super helpful.
You know, because like he said, sometimes you might think that you're managing stuff when you're actually not. Like depending on different season, maybe you lose someone close by. You know, you don't know how to deal with that, especially if you're a man and so on. And sometimes you might not know, like he said, like you've literally hidden yourself. You know, and sometimes your wife might not be the best person to help you, I think. You know, so it takes someone who, like I love what Bishop Joy Makando said when he was ministering at a Sunday service, that a man, you need wisdom on how to deal with the wife. You know, and obviously apart from the word of God, you get wisdom from people that are wise. Walk with the wise and you become wiser. So for me, I think that, you know, in such seasons, it's easier for you to hear from someone who's a couple of years in marriage, in wisdom and so on, as you, and just say, okay, so, you know, how do I deal with this season? I've never been here.
That's it.
And sometimes you might not necessarily reach out because you think maybe I'll sort it out myself.
Yeah. And also because between the two of you, like, it's not everything that you will see eye to eye on. You know, I appreciate the fact that I have a very good relationship with my wife, and oftentimes even things that we may not see eye to eye on, we are able to have a conversation
and agree to disagree.
That's it. And so that makes it easier for us to deal with our issues. But not all couples are like that. Like, I've been exposed to couples that sometimes find it very difficult to are still kind of working their space out. Also because you know, we have different personalities coming into marriage relationships. Others could be highly opinionated. Others could be strong-willed, and so on and so. Maybe you are still trying to refine your communication style. Sometimes you will just not agree on certain matters, and of course, you know, like we often say, we try by all means to guide people according to the precepts of scripture, to manage those things. However, there are times that you might need to escalate or bounce your ideas off of a different individual, different couple. So it would be important for you to have agreed before time to say, you know, whenever we deal with a difficult subject, or in a case where we are not exactly agreeing with each other, this is our go-to couple. This is, you know, you're reaching out, whether you're reaching out to your mentor, reaching out to your pastor, whoever it is, but you would have agreed ahead of time. So what that does is basically brings a third neutral perspective into your conversation. And there's nothing that's more enlightening than just seeing a totally different perspective, because if you are prejudiced towards your partner, no matter what they say, you would have concluded to say, you know, this is coming because I said this, because I did this. But if you get a third perspective, it just broadens how you are looking at the situation, gives you an appreciation of what the other person is seeing, and what you have to do in order for you to kind of remedy the situation. It's important because it also facilitates an enabling environment for a healthy conversation, as opposed to a situation where you just blurt out, she blurts out, or whatever, and you don't even come to an agreement, or you even decide to bury the matter under the carpet and move on without having to deal with it. But because you have people that you can bounce ideas off of, you can actually sort issues out, have a conversation, and have a conclusive way forward pertaining to whatever it is that you're dealing with.
True. And like I always love about our marriage is full of growth. You know, we've been, obviously I've never been married for 8 years, but like, it's amazing how people think you are wise, you know what I mean? You know, but basically it's because you roll with the wise. So like, the wisdom that we have is the wisdom that we've been able to learn from the people that we look up to. So we don't have to figure things out ourselves. You know, we have Jesus, we have the Holy Spirit to, you know, to give us revelation, but at the same time, we have these amazing people we call mentors and coaches that, you know, that we can ride on in terms of their experiences. So I love the fact that we grow, and part of our growth is because we are mentored, we are accountable. For me, I'm eternally grateful to God that my husband is so passionate about mentorship. I get to have amazing opportunities of mentoring different people, couples, and so on. And one of the cry that, you know, women have is how they can encourage their husbands to submit to mentorship. Because I'm a man, you know, I make rules, I make, you know what I mean, decisions. So it's hard when the woman is also doubt to mentorship and the man is not interested, and two cannot work together unless they agree. You know, so for me, I'm just so grateful to God that you are, you know, passionate about mentorship. And I think one of the reasons that we've built this amazing marriage is because the head of our house, of our home, of our institution, of our everything, you know, is submitted, is, you know, humble enough to be corrected, to be rebuked, and so on. You know, and for me, mentorship and accountability is pretty much, like you said, navigating different seasons. It has helped me to learn and learn and learn. You know, because sometimes you might think you know it all, but when you listen to the wise counsel around, wise nuggets, you realize, you say, oh my goodness, I'd have made a very horrible, you know, decision. You know, for me, like, mentorship and accountability looks like picking up a call and say, oh, you know, obviously not a call, even a one-to-one if you can, and just say, oh, you know, I've just conceived. How would this look like? I've never been a mother before, you know, I'm active, I'm all over the show. So what am I supposed to do? You see, and you get counsel. It's about, okay, now when I have a child, so how does parenting look like? What worked for you? You know, what can work for me, you know? Obviously with prayer in the, you know, in the midst, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it looks like that. It looks like how, okay, now that I'm a mother, how do I balance, you know, taking care of my husband, taking care of my child? How do I balance ministry? How do I balance career and so on? You know, for me, it's about all those things. And instead of me figuring out and say, oh my goodness, you know, maybe I need to reduce time on this. It's about sitting down and someone will tell you to say, okay, so now these are some of the things that are common that will happen, but these are some of the things that you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I mean?
The one season I remember is where you were pregnant and you were in school. That was an interesting season for me, because then I had to be more tolerant, more gracious, because obviously you're dealing with the season of the pregnancy. You're also dealing with handing assignments and all that,
tests, exams,
and that, and then there's work as well on top of that. And those were moments for me when I would really also just look up to my mentors. I can't remember at what point the late Bishop Aswani actually did that daddy shower thing. For all that was actually late after we had our son. But those are like moments for me that help me glean into from the people that have gone ahead of us, to just give you nuggets for how to navigate that space, because it's not something that you can easily figure out. And also thank God for like our friendship network. You know, there could be individuals within our networks that maybe have gone through a certain season already. They are ahead of us, so gleaning from them as well also becomes helpful. Some of the platforms that we tap into, like the Young Couples Fellowship at church,
been amazing.
You know, like the different events that they put together, dealing with different subjects, bringing in individuals, experts that speak,
you know, experts and godly at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they will talk about dealing with in-laws. They'll talk about managing your finances in your marriages. They'll talk about
even things like sex in marriage.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And so on.
All of those are different platforms that we have been deliberate about in the whole idea of the mentorship accountability. It's also like my wife said, like, we are deliberate about our growth, you know, because we don't equate growth to the length of our time together. Just because we've been married 7 years, you know, that's not like a badge of honor to say 7 represents yada yada yada, but you know, how much quality does that quantity represent? You know, so it's possible for you to be married for 7 years and have growth that only equates to 3 years
or 2 months,
or 2 months, you know, of you being together, because you're not deliberate about your growth. So for us, it's also that that spirit of always being teachable, always wanting to learn, always wanting to tap into the opportunities around us that allow us to gain, you know, wiser ways of doing things, better ways of doing things. Also knowing that we also have a responsibility of then being able to guide others in the same the same path.
Yes, and on that, I believe that if we're not mentored, we're not accountable to these amazing God-fearing couples, I don't think that we're going to be as wise as we are
Wow.
to handle complicated issues that we handle. I know that some of the issues we handle are just beyond us, but because we have these amazing people around us, when we feel like a situation is too big, we're able to sort of learn from them. And as a result, even mentorship for us, mentoring other couples becomes easier because we know that we have great shoulders that we ride on, what I mean? We do not know it all, what I mean? And I think it's easier doing marriage like that. I don't know how people manage those that don't have mentors. I don't know how they manage. Like, how do they handle issues, different season? I don't know. For us, it has really worked. Every season, every transition, like it's like we are always ready for it. Why? Because we seek counsel. And sometimes you find that these men and women of God, they'll just call and just give you a word in season, right? Like they'll just call and just say, give you nuggets, and before you know it, oh my goodness, we needed this. So if you're not mentored, it's very important to be mentored. So we talked about obviously identifying people that you are both comfortable with. So it's not a one-man show. Your husband should not decide, your wife should not decide. You need to be comfortable with these people because you're going to be vulnerable to them. And also choose people that have, marriages that are working, that are godly. You know what I mean? You don't not perfect, but working. You don't want to go to Advana Chumbusa that beat drums and whatever and say what would he cancel in how to beat drums. Anyways, I'm not talking about that. So you have to pray about the people that should help you grow in your marriage, and identify them as a couple and be deliberate. Sometimes they might not communicate to you. It's you to reach out to them. It's you to ask questions to them, call them. Remember that they don't owe you anything. It's you who wants to grow from them. You know what I mean? So, call them, make the most out of them. Identify different seasons of your life, different transitions. Obviously, like, as a wife, as a husband, and as a couple. And go to these people and get the wisdom. And I can assure you the 7 years will be easier than you think, because it's like you have all the tools. It's just for you to apply them.
That's it right there. So that's about mentorship and accountability for your marriage.
Thank you very much.
Peace.